Ooh.
What's good, everyone? I'm super excited to show you something that I've always wanted to do, that's been a childhood dream of mine, and that is learning how to kickflip. And honestly, I'm kind of in shock that it happened. I documented my journey on the kickflip every step of the way, and it's actually kind of crazy how I went from just not knowing how to do it to actually landing it. It's kind of crazy that just by looking back and watching the whole process, how far you actually come when you're trying to learn a trick. So yeah, hopefully by showing you this video, I'll be able to provide you with like some advice or tips that I learned, which might help you learn how to kickflip. Because honestly, this trick is super fun, and then like once you do it, you actually feel like, oh, now I'm a okay skateboarder. I recommend it if you want to try to kickflip. Make sure your ollie is super strong. Make sure you can like ollie over curbs or ollie over ledges or ollie onto ledges, because it helps with your commitment and your ability to control kind of your front foot, really. So yeah, the first step I used to learn to kickflip was just learning how to flip the board with my front foot. Just try to get that muscle memory down. The first stance I used was putting my front foot in the middle of the board and having my back foot in the ollie position. So the second half of my first month of learning how to kickflip, the thing I focused on was trying to do a half flip. And the purpose of the half flip, from all the YouTube videos I've seen, was just to try to help you commit to just landing on your board. While I was doing the half flip, I also learned that I needed to roll my ankle when I was flicking, and this would help get a nice flip that I was able to land on. Initially what I was doing was I was just kind of kicking the nose of the board and sliding off to the side, and then trying to bring my front foot up really quickly. So it didn't really look that smooth, and it felt kind of weird. Once I figured out how to roll the ankle, the flicks were a lot smoother and I felt like I was in more control. So in the second month of me doing a kickflip, I switched foot positioning. I put my foot over one of the bottom bolts near the nose of my board to have my front heel kind of hang off the board a little bit more. So I could spin the board faster or flick the board harder with less effort. So the purpose of this was hopefully I could, get the full rotation going, because I was doing half flips just fine. So yeah, so I spent kind of the first half of the second month doing that. And then I also found that it just seemed a little bit easier when I tried kick flipping while moving. And I did get pretty close. So basically, in my second month of trying to learn to kickflip, I was consistently flicking the board, flicking it all the way, and then landing it, but just with my front foot. My back foot would always miss. And in order to try to correct this, I was trying any way to just try to keep the board under me. And what I learned was, to keep the board under me, I needed to put more weight on my front foot, and I also needed to visualize myself landing after the flick more on the nose of the board, like my front foot more on the nose of the board. Once I did that, I was actually able to get both feet on. The only problem was, because of my foot positioning, I would open my shoulders a lot, and I would actually not land with my shoulders aligned with the board, so I'd land pretty sketchy. But it was a huge breakthrough. just trying to commit to landing on the nose of your board and just having more weight on your front foot. What that did was help keep the board under me.
Oh!
So after just committing to always landing on the nose of my board or trying to jump ahead of my board so the board stays under me, I had to change my foot positioning. And I changed my foot positioning because my shoulders kept opening up. This time I just tried putting my front foot under the bolts in the center of the board and then kind of pivoting my back foot, so when you look down at my feet, it was more like a duck stance, like kind of like how I snowboard. I was able to get a straighter, more consistent flick, and I was able to keep my shoulders aligned with the board, which actually helped me learn the kickflip. Everything clicked after I did this.